YouTube. It's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and we're going to talk about how we market our balls. Most of my balls are pretty exclusive. I can't even keep all that. Here we go. We are going to talk a little bit about marketing today and how we market our balls. And the reason I feel the need to do that is because, well, on this forum here, I have caught a lot of shit from several people about why we do what we do and how we do it, and yeah. And so I'm gonna address it. I'm just gonna address that right now, and I'm gonna address that right here, and I'm gonna explain why it is I do what I do. Nothing's gonna be hidden. I'm always very out in the open. I'm gonna tell you from the get-go that not all of you are gonna agree with me, and that's okay. It's okay. If you don't agree with me, that's cool. You know, I don't really need your hate comment. I mean, some of you will do it anyway. Most of you won't. But there will be one or two in every group. And, no, I really just don't give a shit. So you're just kind of pissing the wind if you do that. So, yum, cheap soda. All right. And that is going to be how we sell our snakes. I'm going to show you some examples of what I'm talking about. Come here, wee one. Like this snake right here. Many of you saw this snake get hatched. We did our Exanthic clutch update video. It is an awesome, awesome snake. Show you another one. That is also an awesome, awesome snake. Maybe if I can find it. Where are you? I think you're right here. Nope, I was wrong. Nope, I was wrong. Nope, I was wrong. There you are. There you are. This is another very awesome snake that I wanted to share that we hatched. These are probably two of the snakes that we were going to make, not going to make for sale, did make for sale, that probably two of the prettier snakes this year. You know, there are several others that are coming up for sale here soon. Like this little one here, right? Look at that. Bam-o! And plus a lot of other clutches, and then there's a lot of other babies. I mean, I could pull out shit all day long here with killer bees and some other things we've hatched out this year, and you know, some more Exanthic stuff. Obviously, you know, this being an Exanthic pastel, this is a black pastel banana, and of course this is a straight pied. We've got ghosts, and we've got all kinds of cool stuff coming. And you may be saying, okay, well, that's cool. Thanks for. I guess I should put you back in the right cage. That might help. Thanks for showing us your balls. See, I did it again. But what does this have to do with marketing? Well, all these snakes I just showed you, with the exception of maybe this one, but I highly doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it. Will never, ever, ever hit public sale. At least not on this first time. And that is how we market our ball pythons. That's right. They're not holdbacks. I'm not keeping any of those. I just showed you. I'm selling all of them. But I am not selling them to the general public. And I'm not wholesaling them. What does that mean? Well, this is where that whole Patreon thing comes in. And I've cut a lot of crap for being like, oh, you're just money grubbing and you're just this and you're just that by doing this Patreon, and it's all a bunch of, you know, horse shit, and I shouldn't have to pay to buy a snake from you. Well, you don't. The good news is you don't have to join Patreon to buy a snake from me. Because let me show you some of the things that I do still have left. Not that. Not that. Not that. That's sold. Hey, this is left. I'm pretty sure I got a handful of these left. Okay, check that out. I do have some of those left. So you won't be able to buy snakes from me if you're not on Patreon, but currently everything that's on Patreon we got left is pretty much normals. So we market our balls a little different. Now, why did we do that? A couple reasons. One, we saw an opportunity. Actually, camera guy Kurt saw an opportunity. So if you want to send hate mail, send that to 5912 Sharm Drive, Olympus Reptiles, care of camera guy Kurt. That's where all the hate mail can go. Because he said, hey, there's this really cool new thing. And I was like, man, I don't know. And I started looking to it and I thought, shit, he's a genius. Let's go for it. But we thought to ourselves, if we're going to do this and you're going to put up this extra content as a creator and as an artiste, as you're supposed to be on Patreon, then we have to give people something extra. Because I am not that damn interesting for people to pay to talk just to hear me talk. So we gave them first access and some other specials. We give them these t-shirts, right? We're going to find a way to give them these hats. Those are all things that are going to be Patreon exclusive stuff. These will also be available at shows. And to our surprise, that type of marketing worked better than I ever anticipated. It did. It did. And I know some of you think that's not fair. And I apologize for that, because in a perfect world, I'd have 1,000 baby snakes. I have enough to go around, but I don't. I'm a guy with a day job. Kurt's a guy with a day job. We only have so much time to do this. And I can only dedicate so much of my life to doing this and still have time to keep my sanity. So our collection stays at a certain size where we're only ever going to produce a certain number of snakes. More than we produce this year, because we're still growing up. But there is kind of a cap to it when we have day jobs. And there's also a cap to the Patreon. So what is Patreon? What is this thing we keep talking about that you hear? Well, it's www.patreon.com/Olympus Reptiles. There's a link in every video description. And if you go there, it will start at $5. And then you have the chance to buy all those snakes. Now, the first two I showed you are sold. The pie does not. They haven't been made for sale yet, even on Patreon, but they will. We make them for sale there first. It's their own kind of private VIP club. They're not getting any special price on that. They're normal market value. However, that being said, we do Patreon specials. I'll give you an example of what those look like. Now, the one I'm going to pull out is not a Patreon special. This one has already been sold on Patreon too. But we sold one just like this as a Patreon special. This would be a killer bee. And we did that at, what was it, $125 shipped? Yeah, we did it at $125 shipped. That's ship priced. And we do that once a month. And it's kind of a live video, a live sale. Sometimes we do reverse auction. Sometimes we do it straight up. It just depends on how things are going and how we want to do it. But once a month, we make an animal for a very, very special price available to Patreon. And we sell it that way. So there's lots of little cool things that we do. Plus, it's a community that our members own. What I mean by our members own it is when we make vast changes and drastic changes, we vote on it. So right now the cap is 810 people. That's all that's allowed to be on it as far as membership goes, of $5 and up. And once it's at that, we don't allow any more. I can't increase that. Well, I can. It's a computer button. But my promise is I don't increase that without a vote of membership. And I don't plan on increasing it anyway. I don't think I want to increase it. I want to keep it to a certain level. So, is this an advertisement to say go get on our Patreon? In some ways, yes it is. Because if you want to get snakes from us and I want to sell you snakes, they're going to pick through stuff first. It's just the way it works. Here's the cool thing. Whether you pay us $5 a month on Patreon or $100 a month on Patreon or any of the tiers in the middle, you still have first access. It's not like $100 get it and on down. Everybody gets it. $100 get other benefits that you won't at 5 or 10 or 15. You know, each tier gets more and more stuff. But everybody has the access to that and the private sales. We will do giveaways on Patreon at certain points. That will be weighted with the level of donation. So there is that. But it has been an amazing thing for us. Now, what do we do with it? Because it does kind of sound like, oh, you just want money. Who doesn't want money? But do I want money to put in my own pocket? No, I don't. Well, yeah, I do, but that's not what the Patreon's for. All these racks you see, we wouldn't have this if it wasn't for Patreon. Okay? I would not make enough from reptile sales alone to grow my business the way I've grown it. We wouldn't have that. Patreon paid for that. This guy right here, our entrance into the Scaleless project, Patreon paid for that. Get a good shot of that head. We wouldn't have that if we didn't have the Patreon. So I want you guys to understand here on YouTube why I'm very passionate about that and why I give so many benefits to that and why I do push that and why I'm not backing down from that stance right now, despite pressure from some to do so. Because I wouldn't have those things without Patreon. We wouldn't have advanced our clown project by purchasing this female. One of our newest females we added, right there. That is a Patreon purchase. And that has been, Patreon for us is coming up. And the reason I wanted to do this video now is Patreon is coming up on its year anniversary for us. Not on the website. It's been around longer than that. But for us, we've had Patreon for almost 1 year, I think, right, Kurt?
Yeah.
And so this year, we had those original members who have come on, and this is one of my ways of saying, so I tell them all the time how much I appreciate them being there, but I don't want to tell just them. I want to tell all of you on YouTube too how much I appreciate that, and let you see what that does for us. Because it kind of pisses me off a little bit when people are like, "That's not fair. You know, you shouldn't do that. You're just money grubbing. You're just doing this. You're just doing that. Blah 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 blah." Well, look. Here's the facts. You know, one, we had an idea that not a lot of other people had yet when we first did it. And that was, I'll give credit where credit's due, that wasn't my brainchild, it was Kurt's. Some of the things we do on it I thought of, but the original idea to do Patreon was Kurt's. Two, it has funded so much stuff for us that and a lot of that stuff we bring into YouTube. Like, I couldn't do the YouTube stuff I do if it wasn't for Patreon, because how do we buy the new camera equipment, Kurt?
Patreon.
So, like, the money that comes in from that, we are reinvesting into what we do. It's not like I'm going out and traveling with it, unless it's for reptile stuff, or buying new stuff with it, unless it's for reptiles. The money is going back into our collection, into what we do. How much Patreon money is going in your pocket?
Zero.
Same here. So, you know, we work for a living like anybody else. So, yeah, it kind of... He just tripped over the thing. It kind of burns my ass a little bit when people get on here, and not all of you, it's very few of you, or they go other places and they start doing this and they're starting to bitch about what I do and how I do it. Well, you know what? You got two options. One is get on board. Okay, come join us. Come see what it's about. See the community we've built. As a matter of fact, we set it up where you can sign up for $1. You won't get access to the sales. You won't get access to any of that stuff, but at least you can get an idea of what that community is about, right? We do some posts everybody can see. You can come see what we post. We do a feed video every month there, or not every month, every week. I take that back. We do 2 extra videos a week there. I do a lot of live stuff there. You know, and the community has grown to a point, which this is the coolest part in my opinion, that somebody will ask a question, before I get to it, others already get to it for me. You know, other members are answering those questions now. And what we don't have, because nobody's there is about this, is we don't have people piling on people and hating and saying, "Oh, you fucked that up, you're an idiot, you did that wrong," or, you know, "You shouldn't even have animals." We don't have that crap. And if we do, we squish it. We ain't having that. So you know I hate that. Like, that is one of my pet peeves in this hobby, is when people pile on people, or people get so laser focused on what they do, they think there's no other way to do anything. I'll tell you, I do stuff different than a lot of people. It works. A lot of people do stuff different than me. It works too. There's more than one way to do things, guys. But anyway, that's kind of my push for Patreon and why we do it. Why we do it is it advances our hobby. It allows us to do things that we never thought possible. We are about to start traveling and filming and actually do herping in places, not tomorrow or anything, but we're setting this up, to be honest, and going out and looking for animals in the wild. Why? Patreon. Like, that's why. So we're going to get to kind of chase our dreams of whether they were dreams from childhood or new. I think Kurt discovered he loves his filming stuff a little later in life, and I discovered I wish I was Steve Irwin from the time I watched Steve Irwin. Full disclosure, I'm not Steve Irwin, and I will not jump on an alligator anywhere, but I would love to go film one. Like, in a while. So, you know, that's why. You want to know why we do that, why we're doing that, or what we're all about, or what that's all about, or, you know, it's bullshit that we can't sell snakes to anybody. They hit me up and I'm like, just join Patreon. That's why. And you tell me, somebody please, and I'm being serious on this, if you can have an open conversation without taking it down a rabbit hole, then I'll have one with you. You start going down a rabbit hole and calling me names, it's my website, so it ain't going to work out very well for you, because it's a funny thing, I get controls, I always get the last word. It's great, I do love that. But tell me where it would be fair for me to go back and not do what I told those people I'd do, and not offer those snakes to them first, and not do specials for them first, and not do giveaways for them first, when they are literally funding my dream. And YouTube isn't. This doesn't fund my dream. This pales in comparison. YouTube will not allow me to tell you what we make on YouTube, and that's their rules, and I respect that, so I'm not going to tell you that. But I can tell you that Patreon is over, it's probably around close to 4 times right now, this date and time. And it's grown that in 1 year versus what YouTube can do. So, I love YouTube. I do, and I'm not leaving YouTube. It lets me reach the masses. It lets me put my word out and my passion out and what I believe and what I like and my way of doing things, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. And it lets me share that. But the Patreon lets me grow it. So I want to invite all of you who watch this to take a few minutes and go check it out. And I know you're not all going to sign up, and that's okay. As a matter of fact, if you never sign up for our Patreon and you just want to come watch us on YouTube, you know what? I love that. I do. I still want you here. This isn't a jump on the ship or get the hell out kind of thing. It's not that. I know the Patreon isn't going to be for everybody, and that's okay. That's perfectly okay. Like, I am fine with that. But if you want to have a shot at some of those snakes and some of the other things we produce, like if this girl lays this year or when she lays next year, they'll get first shot at that project. You know, we're going to be, and that's True Ghost Project, where all of our double recessives are working. Plus, she's that Dark Snake that's kind of her dinker project. They'll have first go with that. They'll have first go at everything they do. Always. And it's always going to be that way as long as that website's handling that. At some point, our production will probably grow past what we have on there. And there'll be more stuff made available to the public. But when I only hit one of these snakes this year, just one, did you really think that snake would make it off Patreon? I knew the moment it hatched it wouldn't. I looked at that snake when it crawled out the egg and said, shit, that thing's selling on Patreon. Didn't I, Kurt?
Yep.
I said the same thing about this one that I showed you earlier. That's why I can tell you with confidence, this thing is not going to make it to public. It's not. There's just no damn way it is. I can guarantee you guys that. You know, none, literally none of our Exantic clutch this year made it to the public. Okay? Not even this. This is just a head Exantic. You're going to try to bite the shit out of somebody. Let's not do that. That's just a little head Exantic, right? All those sold on Patreon. And yes, folks, I know for the Patreon members who are watching this, I know I still got to email a few of you and let you know totals and things like that. But they just aren't going to make it to the public. Did I think a snake like this would have made it to the public when I first started this? Yeah, I did. Did I expect to be going to a show here in the first part of September and taking pretty much almost all normals? Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, no, I didn't expect that to happen. But it is a situation we're in, and for us it's great. You know, it means all of our animals are selling. And as a breeder, you know, one of my biggest fears when I started breeding was that I would produce animals and not be able to sell them. And that wasn't because I was worried about the money. That was because if I keep producing animals and I can't sell them, where the hell will I put them? And then I can't get to the end projects because I got all these extra stuff. And, you know, that's what that was about. We don't have that issue. So that is why. Kurt, do you want to add anything about Patreon, what it's done for us?
I'm just glad that it's allowing us to reinvest all that money into our ball python projects and just helping us grow faster.
Yes, and for full disclosure, you know, Patreon too will let you do one of two things. You can make public the amount of income you have off of it, or you can hide it. And up to this point, and I don't know if we always will, I'm not going to say we always will on this, we may not, and if we choose not to, we make that choice by vote with the explanations of why we think that. We show, like, it's public. You can go look right now and see what Patreon pays us. And you can see when you start looking and saying, oh shit, yeah, you bought that many dollars in racks. You bought that many dollars in clowns. You know, you bought a scaleless head lemon blast for shit's sake. And I'm in the process of getting bids to build Sobek a new cage. I mean, it's pretty obvious what we're doing with it. You know, we bought a camping trailer too. And you're thinking, well, that's something fun. No, it's going to be because we're going to do like off-road videos. Like I told you, we're going to travel and do herping videos. Patreon paid for that. Like, we are reinvesting that money into be able to do more filming, more reptile stuff, more animal stuff. We've traveled to different zoos and parks and things and filmed, and it's paid for a lot of that. It did not pay for my Branson trip. That was my own damn vacation. I want to reiterate that. But everything else, yes. So it has been probably the most important tool, and the people on there have been the most important to us in making us successful. So, for those few people that want to jump on my ass and tell me what I'm doing is wrong, or that, whatever, how can you justify that? I'm really curious how when you hear what I'm doing with it and what it's done for us, how you can justify that. I mean, would you prefer that we just grow barely and we scratch and we do everything we can? No, we had an innovative idea and we ran with it. And currently, as it says, we're one of the largest Patreon channels for reptiles that I know of. I think there's one out there with more members, but I think its monthly income last I knew was a tick lower. Not much. It kind of goes back and forth, and it's been around forever, where we are a lot newer of a channel. So it's been great. It's been a great ride. I think that is where our future is going to continue to be. All right, enough of that, and I'm pretty sure this video is probably going to be our most hated video. But I wanted to get that off my chest. This has been coming for a while, and we were kind of waiting for this year anniversary time to roll around and see where it was at to kind of explain to us why we chose to do it, what it means to us, because there's not a week that goes by that somebody doesn't message me and say, hey, what do you have available? And I say, currently nothing, but everything goes on Patreon first. Here's a Patreon link. Oh, so I have to pay money to buy from you? No, you don't have to. As a matter of fact, you don't have to pay money to buy from me. You can, honest to God, it's a free market. You can choose not to buy from me. A lot of people do, and that is okay. If you don't like how I do business, don't. Don't. Buy somebody you like how they do business and buy from them. If you don't like how I care for my snakes, don't buy from me. If you don't like that I feed live, don't buy from me. However, if you like that I do what I do, you like how I care for my snakes, you've talked to people who have bought from me before, and you like the customer service I provide, you know I'm going to be there from beginning to end. I can tell you right now, there's one snake I've got that a guy even said was a Patreon member, and we're running into problems getting it shipped because his weather ain't cooperating when mine is, and vice versa. It's hot where he's at. We had a cool spell. We sent a bunch of shit out. We couldn't send his because his was too hot. He was feeling kind of bad. He said, oh man, do you need me to pay for food for a while, since it may be a month before it cools down here again and I can get the animal, and I know it's costing you this and X, Y, Z? I said, absolutely not. You already paid me for the snake. You already did that. Part of providing good customer service is taking care of that animal until I can make sure that I can safely ship it to you so it arrives alive. That's on me, right? It's on me to make sure it ships alive. I ain't going to take a risk on that animal, and I don't mind feeding it while it's here, taking care of it. That's called customer service. That dude shouldn't have to pay for that. That'd be horseshit. People charge for it all the time. Personally, I think that's horseshit. So if you appreciate that type of customer service, that I'm going to take care of your animal after the money's in my hand, like it's still my own until I get it to your door, that's why you buy from me. That's why you join Patreon. If you want to be able to get a hold of me and talk to me when you have a problem, you have something going on that you need help with, even if it's a video chat or whatnot, that's why you join Patreon. If you want to have my ear when you send messages, because I don't get to all the comments on here, I don't get to all the Facebook messages. I can't. I physically can't do it anymore, along with doing all the other shit that I have to do called having a job. I just can't get to all the messages that roll in. But you know what I do get to? All the Patreon messages. Every fucking one of them we get to. Whether it's me or whether it's Jen for t-shirts, we get to it. If I don't get to it, send me a new one, I'll get back to you, because I owe you that. You are paying to be that VIP and have that access and have my ear and have those animals and have all of that. That's what it's about. That's why we do it. We don't do it to be money hungry. We do it to grow our business and chase our dream. And if you can't appreciate that, hey, it is what it is. But if you can, and you think, man, that's pretty cool, I want to see where this goes, and I want to have first shot at some of those animals, and I want to have those live videos, I want to have that set down, come check it out. Come on over. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you as part of that group, part of that tight-knit family we're building, part of that community we're building. Some of the things you can get: first chance to view snakes, first chance to purchase snakes, access to special sales, t-shirts, hats, although I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet for sure, but we're doing it. Live video chats. Come down and appear in a film with us. You can get discounts, discounted shipping. What else am I leaving out, Kurt? Like
Discounts at shows.
Discounts at shows, up to 15% at shows. So all those things, you can get free shipping too at certain levels. So all those things are built into that program. Just want to say that there's a reason for it. All right, guys, I appreciate it so much. I'll get off my soapbox now. I know this probably sounded like an advertisement. It really wasn't supposed to. What it was supposed to sound like is, this is why we market the way we do in our way of marketing, and a little bit of a different way of marketing that we discovered to sell our animals and what it's done for us. And then when we get so much hate for it, I want you to know why we do it and what we're doing with that money. We ain't going out and buying Ferraris and shit, okay? One, we don't make enough to do that even with Patreon. And two, we didn't get in there for that. We got in there for, and before anybody takes that as I'm trying to make a dig at your brakes, I use a specific car. I'm not. It's just what came in my head. All right. Anything else before I get off here, Kurt?
Nope.
All right, guys. Love you, Trevor. See you later.